You know, man, I've done a lot of things with a lot of women. As a matter of fact, a bunch of wild things with a bunch of wild women. I've had quite a time in my life dealing with women. No issues, no heartbreaks, no heartaches, no times where I trusted a woman and she did something wrong. Like I've always accepted women for who they are, because that's how I was raised. So I don't have many regrets at all. As a matter of fact, there's only one. And today, man, I want to take a deep dive and talk to you guys about the one thing that haunts me about all my dealings with women. From all my dealings with all my women throughout my life, there's one thing that haunts me, and there's one thing I regret. Let's take a deep dive on this one. But first, let's elevate to a higher plane. Prepare for takeoff. Now, the reality of the scenario is this, man. There are some things that we as men must keep in mind at all times. And one of those things is you have to maintain a certain level of value as it applies to yourself when it comes to your dealing with women. And there is one scenario that I'm sure I'm not the only man who's done this, and some of you men are doing this now. And the temptation for this still comes to me now. Like I just dealt with some temptation for this just over this past weekend. But the one thing I regret more than anything is ever being an option for infidelity for a lazy wife who isn't dedicated to her husband or her marriage. When she reaps the benefits or the consequences and repercussions of her lack of effort and energy in her own marriage with her own husband and her own relationship in her own household, it's such a lowly position for a man to be in. And that is the one thing I regret the most. When I think back on those times and I realize that I was allowing myself to be used by a woman for her benefit, and it didn't benefit me at all. All she gave me was something I could have gotten from any woman in my life at that particular time. So it's not like I was ever in a situation where I didn't have any options for women. I didn't have any women in my life, unless it was by choice, of course. And during that time, no woman was going to get with me anyway. But, when I was open to being with women, man, at any point in my life, I've always had options. So for me to allow that Jezebel succubus energy to draw me in. And I'll tell you what happens. And many of you men are dealing with this now. And I want you men to keep this in mind, because what you're dealing with is a situation where here's a woman who is in so much need of validation that she will make you feel like you're the only man in the world who can give it to her. And after a while, if you keep allowing that woman to have access to you, eventually you're going to give in. The problem is not that the woman is stronger than you and the woman can overtake you or overcome you or convince you to do anything. The problem is there's only so much of constant pursuit from a woman that a man can take, especially if she's an attractive woman. There's only so much pursuit you can take from a woman who is making you believe that, at least in her eyes, that you are the king of the world. But here's the problem. How can you be the king of the world to a woman who already has a husband? You can't. Because no matter what you do, no matter how the level of intimacy is, no matter how crazy it is, no matter how freaky it is, no matter what she's willing to do, she's still going home to be with another man. And you are still the side dude. So when I tell you, man, about it makes no sense to be a side dude, I'm telling you because I assess my own situation throughout my own life, man. You know what I'm saying? And I've been with many women who have been with other men. And that makes the regret even deeper for me, because I've done it on numerous occasions. I've allowed myself to be a side dude to a woman. It doesn't matter how unhappy the woman is. It doesn't matter if her and the man are sleeping in the same bed. It doesn't matter if her and the man are being intimate. It doesn't matter if she's not speaking to the man. It doesn't matter how she treats the man. The bottom line is she is that man's wife. And no matter what part of the house she sleeps in, she's going to that man's house to sleep with him that night under the same roof. There's no amount of good feeling you can give yourself if you're going to be honest with yourself about your true value and essence as a man. And I know some beta male saying, man, Johnny gonna come in here and say,
"Why did it be away? You always talking about the line. You always talking about the line. The line just go to pride and take over. Let it be away. The line just go to pride and take over. He see a woman he want, a group of women he want. He look at that line and say, now, he say, man, I'm gonna kill you by them women. And he go in that man, they fight to death by that women. Cause that man say, he gonna get that woman. And that's the same thing in the alpha supposed to do. Let it be away. The lion is the full representative of alpha. Let it be away. And look what he does. That's the same thing men do. Let it be away. So ain't nothing different. So don't be hard on yourself. Let it be away. Now is the time that I agree with you the most. Let it be away. You should keep on being a sinner and dealing with the other man wild. Let it be away. Cause that would be the alpha thing to do. Matter of fact, I'm not going to even subscribe this time. Let it be away. I'm gonna stick around a little bit. Psych, unsubscribe.
okay, unsubscribe, sucker, but before you go, let me tell you this. If you're the type of man who wants to compare yourself to a lion who needs a pride in order to eat, a lion is totally reliant on a female pride to feed him. It is very difficult for a lion to hunt since they're ambush hunters. It is very difficult to ambush something when you got a mane the size of that animal's body around your face that doesn't blend with any particular background on the Sahara or the Savannah or the Serengeti. You have to keep in mind, man, that we are not animals. We are distinct beings with elevated intellect and spiritual awareness. These are just the type of excuses that we make in our minds in order to justify our horrendous actions of allowing a woman to use us to fill in the gaps of a life that would probably be better if she would just dedicate herself to it. And you're contributing to the fact that she's not dedicating herself to it even more. And here's the thing. In the real world, if we're going to be honest about being men, then we understand that women are out of control without the guidance of men. So it is our job as men to control the women in our environment by not allowing ourselves to be a part of their process of doing whatever they want to do, of doing whatever kind of evil their minds can conceive. So it is your job as a man to turn that woman down, and not only turn her down, go and tell her husband, man, to keep an eye on her, man, because she keep coming at you. But the problem in this society is that men are caught up on two things: lust and the need for validation. And we figured out this grandiose plan, this grandiose scheme to allow the lust to feed the validation. The only problem is lust can't feed validation. Lust feeds arousal. And so if you're pursuing validation through a method that can only give you a successful cure to your arousal, you're going to forever be chasing that same thing. And you're going to be more likely to be with another woman who already belongs to a man. Because truth be told, if that's that man's wife, she belongs to him, regardless of how well he plays the role or not. Maybe he lets her run things, but it has nothing to do with you and I. See, the problem is you can't let a woman come and tell you that her situation that she's in is bad. She the one in it. She the one decided to be in it. That's her problem. You're not a cleanup man. You guys want to clean up these relationships, but if you go to work and they tell you got to clean the toilets in there, man, you'll quit the job. And then you'll go to this man, but you'll clean his mess. Not even his mess, the woman's mess. It made absolutely no sense for me to ever be involved in those types of activities, man. And even now, these married women are still coming out of the woodworks, throwing their temptation my way, doing all types of things. And the bottom line is, I have to look at this the same way you do and say that, okay, I'm building myself constantly into the most alpha version of myself. She sees that. She feels that. She wants that. The only problem is the only way she can get it is intimately. And she doesn't deserve it even intimately. So you put yourself in a situation where you give a woman something that she doesn't even deserve, and you give yourself props for giving a woman something that she doesn't deserve. You pat yourself on the back for being used by a less than optimal woman, by an unworthy woman, by an evil woman, by a Jezebel. And trust me, man, I'm not pointing the finger at you guys. I'm speaking to you guys from my experience because I've done it. And I talk to you guys about it all the time. I have done it. And it is one of the biggest regrets because it is the worst type of respect and love and appreciation that I have ever shown myself. Total lack of appreciation, total lack of love, total lack of self-respect, total lack of self-value, total lack of self-awareness. If you a man out there now, man, and you allowing yourself to be used by another man's wife, because I'm going to be honest with you, you ain't using her. You can't use her. It's impossible to use her. You can't use her when she only has for you the things she's giving you. If you wanted more, you couldn't get it. If she wanted more from you, she probably could. I want y'all to think about how that goes. Here's a woman who has a man. They have a routine. One thing you know about a woman's going to stick to a routine. She's not going to get out of routine because she understands what routine means. A man is the one who's likely to have another woman and get out of routine. Start doing things like not answering his phone. Start doing things like, acting like he's available when he's not, or acting like he's not available when he is, or acting like he's staying late at work or doing some crazy. A man is going to always change his routine. A woman going to stick to her routine all the same. And you know what? A man's going to change his routine because a woman that he has on the side is going to become more demanding because she's going to become more emotionally attached. A man who's dealing with another man's wife, he'll take whatever she gives. She could be with him one day and then not call him again for 3 weeks. And when she called him, he'll clear off his schedule, man, to make a hole for it. I've seen men who only had one woman and that woman belonged to another man. He ended up cleaning out his whole stable for one woman who already had a husband. Why? Because that Jezebel succubus energy pulls you in and makes you an addict to the evil. And this is not something I'm playing about, brothers. And that evil transitions itself into your life. Why? Because God said so. Committing adultery with another man's wife is a sin. A man who commits adultery with another man's wife lacks understanding. A wound and a reproach shall he get. If a man be caught stealing, he shall repay sevenfold what he has stolen, even if it costs him all the substance of his household. But a man who commits adultery with another man's wife, that man shall take no bribe. When it is time to pay the piper for your actions, you will pay the piper. Because at no point in life will God ever side with you against a man whose wife you have committed adultery with. And I have seen men whose lives have been changed dramatically because they would not leave another man's wife alone. And so when you look at it, you ask yourself, what would you do if a man came in your house, man, broke in your house and took your money? If a man, you went in the store and came out, the man was driving off in your car, would you be like, okay, well, just go and let him have my car? No, you'd be thoroughly upset and ready to do something to somebody. That is one thing, one line that I will never cross again as long as I live. It doesn't matter how beautiful she is. It doesn't matter how enticing she is. It doesn't matter how she sings my praises and convinces me that I'm the best thing since sliced bread. I'm talking about you couldn't even make a sandwich before I was born, homie. If she is tied to another man, she will not be tied to me in any way. Intimately, friendship, which of course not that, or anything else that man doesn't approve of and condone. And the only thing he's going to approve of and condone is business. You men better learn to protect your energy from yourself. Because you can say what you want to say. The woman has, the woman of this. Yes. But all throughout the book of Proverbs, you are warned about that woman whose heart is a snare and her hands as bands. Whoso pleaseth God shall avoid her, but the fool shall be taken in her midst. And brothers, I have been a fool, and so have many of you. But moving forward, we make up in our minds today, even if we've already made it up before, today we make a pact amongst ourselves as the alpha brethren of the alpha sphere, that our main goal in life, our main initiative is to become the most alpha version of ourselves, and being with another man's wife is the opposite of that. And so we put it in the pile of things that we don't do because they ain't alpha. Y'all comment down below and let me know what you think about this topic, man. And let's have a confessional here, man. Let's get in the comments and all confess our sins of being with another man's wife. And let's all come together and seek the forgiveness of the Most High for this egregious act of self-hate and transgression. Peace.
Alphas up, betas down, it's the motto. Simps claiming that they pimps, but they not though. Alphas up, betas down, it's the motto. Suckers claiming to be players, but they not though. Alphas up, betas down, it's the motto. Tricks acting like they max, but they not though. Alphas up, betas down, it's the motto. Betas claiming